Whew. All right. How's everybody doing out there? It's going to be a show. I can tell you that already. Uh, the comments, by the way, are lit up, which is funny, right? Because it sort of plays into what I've said before, and that is that so much of the toxic discourse around the WNBA is not in line with the reality. Um, I was going to just talk basketball today and avoid it completely. I think Dejanay Carrington's tweet might have made that impossible, but I didn't change the subject or title or anything because one, I didn't have time, and two, I would like to start with basketball. And here's a little secret for you. I want to let you guys know something. The topics that I do on this channel do better when I'm talking about basketball. They perform better. Like when I'm talking about Christy Sides and how she's coaching the Fever, or a Caitlin Clark breakout performance, or whatever the case may be, it has performed better than race war 2.0 whatever thing of the day. And that's just tiring and exhausting. So before we get to that, let's start with what I think is becoming a real rookie of the year debate. Because I got news for you. I really like watching Caitlin Clark play, and I like Caitlin Clark. I also like Angel Reese, and that's okay. It's okay. There's no problems with that. And I would have thought any other player being propped up as a rookie of the year before would have been bait, like engagement bait. Would have been engagement bait. Because I don't think in the past there was another serious candidate, really. And if you look at the odds for this, it says overwhelmingly that Caitlin Clark is the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year and most likely will win Rookie of the Year, right? Because if you were to bet on Caitlin Clark, you don't win much money coming back your way. Angel Reese, though, is a good investment as a bet. If I'm giving out sports betting advice right now, I would say Angel Reese is a good bet right now at the odds. Because she is balling. She is hooping. I mean, she shows up to the games looking good, and now she's playing good. I mean, she's been playing good, but now she's playing at a different level. That's Angel Reese showing up, and then Angel Reese on the court. First rookie from the 24 draft class with 100 points and 100 rebounds. I think she's the fastest to her rebounding total since Breanna Stewart. And she started to finish at a higher level. That was the biggest issue for me, was that she wasn't finishing around the rim very well. Her defense is really, really good, like superb. The way Angel moves defensively, she's physical, she's quick on her feet, she stays in front of her opponent, she's tough, she has good instincts for the ball, she gets steals. I believe she's top 5 in the league in rebounds and steals. Angel is a problem. I don't know how she was the 7th pick in the draft. That's what I really want to know. How was Angel Reese the 7th pick in the draft? That girl's good. She's good. And, it would be great for the WNBA if that was a legit Rookie of the Year race, like between Reese and Clark. And because it's nice to be able to compare them in a way that's not trying to create drama. It's just like sports, conversation and sports debate. That's healthy. Because Angel's a real good player. And she's a dog, as I keep saying. She is a dog. She competes. There was one play last night. She snatched the ball out the air. She's trying to be a leader for Kennedy Carter out there. So salute to Angel Reese, because she was shooting like 33%. And that just was not good enough to even be entertained in the conversation. considering where her shots come from. But that's got to be trending. Let me look at the exact numbers right now. That's definitely trending in the other direction. She's up to 39% on the season now, which is much better, obviously, than where she was. She's had a couple of good shooting games in a row, and she can be a legit star. I think if you are looking at the rest of the rookie class, like Aaliyah Edwards is the other one who I think has a chance to get into this conversation. I really like her. I love the way she moves. She moves so quick with the ball and without the ball. She moves so quick. So I think she could work her way into, but all that other stuff earlier in the season, like Caitlin Clark is the 6th best rookie and Cameron Brink is best. No. I think Rakia Jackson might be the best rookie on the Sparks, but she hasn't gotten the workload yet. So there is a reality where I believe Reese makes this a legitimate debate and states a legitimate case. She's got to be the rookie of the year for June, or the rookie of the month for June so far. Now, the reason I still think it's Caitlin is because of relative responsibility and the defensive attention going the other way. Like, Caitlin Clark is facing more defensive attention than anybody else in basketball, probably in basketball, but certainly in the WNBA. And she has more responsibility to create for herself and others. And she's under more of a microscope than anybody else, obviously, given the other stuff we're going to get to. And for any of the disappointment that might be around Clark and her debut, she's still on a historic pace as a rookie. Like, the only reason anybody skews any of her stuff as disappointing is because of the hype and the pomp and circumstance. But Clark is top 15 in the league in scoring and top 5 in assists. And as I said before, like, people keep bringing up Arike of the Wings when it comes to the Olympic thing. And Arike is shooting 24 shots a game. Clark is shooting 13 shots a game at a higher percentage than Arike. Like, if you extrapolate Clark's, if she got more shots, Clark doesn't really get that many shots a game. If she got more shots, if she got Arike's shots, she'd be averaging 31 points a game. So Caitlin is certainly producing. There's no question. And ultimately, I think now that the schedule's lightened up a little bit and she'll get some more rest and she won't be facing the best teams in the league every single night, I think Caitlin will be the rookie of the year, and I think she is the rookie of the year right now. But for the first time, what I'm trying to say, for the first time, I think someone has emerged who can make a legitimate case, and that is Angel Reese, ironic as it may be. How is she the 7th pick in the draft? That is wild. And I think Aaliyah Edwards would be the next one who I would consider in that conversation. So I'll get to your comments on this, and then I'll go to the other topic because I'm sure there are a lot of comments on this. I'm sure people are going to have something to say. Hopefully we can do it healthy. Let's try. Kevin Zwicker with the super chat. CC has stats and is always doubled. Love Reese, though. Yeah, I mean, I think that sums it up pretty well, Kev. That's why I like you, man. Kevin is an OG fan, official, unofficial producer of the show. He and AJ Schreiber, we are in a text thread. They were the OG fans before all this stuff blew up the way it has around Caitlin Clark and everything. But let's start with the healthy basketball debate, and then we'll get into the other crap. And I'll do my best. And I'll cut that into a separate video that we can throw up. People can watch, since we're already 10 minutes into the stream here. And I think it's worth addressing one more time. I thought I had said my piece on it, but it's worth addressing one more time. Pam Thompson says CC is mine. Cheryl adds it's Reese. Futuristic, who's a big Clark fan, says, Robin, what kind of question is that? Seriously? I mean, I think it's a fair enough question. I don't think it's like crazy clickbait. Angel's playing really well. Give her credit. Matt Munson says Clark by a landslide. Nikki says Chicago so far won 4 and Indiana 3. Switch these players before the start of the season. Chicago would probably win 7 and Indiana 1. Yeah, I mean, I do. I do think Clark is a better player, but Angel's so good at what she does. And what she does helps every basketball team that's ever existed, right? I mean, she's got the defense, the rebounding, the competitiveness. Vadamoni. Robin, why do you only do this for clicks? Man, we know the real rookie of the year will be Christy Sides. She's amazing and will get all the awards. Yeah. Vadim says Sides said they're going to go inside out, except so far it's almost never comes out and Boston bricks the layups. We'll see what happens. When is Teme back? That's important. We'll see what happens in the Fever game. I'll do a reaction video to that too. And I'll get out of here before that starts. That starts at 7, right? That's why I scheduled this for 6. That starts at 7. Welcome anybody who's new here. Appreciate y'all for hopping in. Richard M says, how is this even a discussion? I like Reese, likely the second best rookie in distance second in fan support. Caitlin just has better stats despite receiving more defensive attention than anyone. I mostly agree. I think Reese is starting to make it a discussion. And to be honest, I just thought it was a fun little discussion we could have, even though I agree with what you're saying. I thought it was a fun basketball discussion we could have involving the two of them. And yes, I agree. I think Angel's the second most popular player in the league. Agreed, distant second, but that's okay. She's still super popular. And her game is starting to live up. Like, before you would have thought maybe Angel's reach outweighed what the expectations were for her, being the 7th pick in the draft, how she was shooting. But now she's playing like a top flight player, like somebody who could be on the Olympic team, right? I mean, next time around, maybe they should both be on the Olympic team together. Kayla Mendenhall says, Reese has done much better the last 2 games. Catherine shot Caitlin Clark in a landslide. OG says 100. Not sure. Get some Jay says, sure, a lot of people trying to create some drama off these 2 ladies. Angel and Clark? I don't know if that's where the drama is anymore, guys. I mean, the drama may have been shifted. There was certainly some drama today, which I'll get to in a second, because it is getting a little exhausting, and I'm not sure what to say about it right now. Maybe you guys can help me. AJ Schreiber says, I know who the top 3 picks were, but I couldn't tell you who went 4 through 6 before Reese. Draft results 2024. Okay, let's look it up just to make sure I got it exactly right. Obviously, Clark went 1, Brink went 2, Cardoso went 3, Rakia Jackson went 4. That's looking like a good pick. Then Sheldon went 5, Aaliyah Edwards went 6, Reese went 7. So, I mean, actually looking at it written out, it's not as bad as you think, because Aaliyah Edwards, I think, has a chance to be as good as any of them. I really like her game a lot. I've been very impressed with her. What is Sheldon doing so far on this year? Yeah, that's the rough one. That's the rough one. She's only averaging 2 points a game and a rebound in 11 minutes a night, shooting 29% from the floor. So when you look at it, and then honestly, like, Cameron Brink, I think, has the best PR team. I mean, she's got good defensive instincts, but I might put everybody else ahead of her right now. Snake says, have to see how Reese does the entire season. 1-2 games don't mean nothing at this point. Yeah, I mean, but you can praise somebody when they're that's what I asked to see from Angel, and she's doing better at it, so I'm going to give her credit. Simple as that. Of course, it has to be done over a longer period of time. Nuclear says until Angel can shoot at least 45% on layups, no. Well, I mean, again, that's why I'm giving her credit. She's starting to shoot better on layups. It's only been 2 games, but I've seen her working on it. Brandon Bean, Caitlin will win regardless of team record. Diego Ramirez, Enrique isn't being defended full court. Kayla brings up a good point because I did see this earlier. Enrique said she didn't like the vibe from the training camps. She said she figured they wouldn't pick her, so she took herself out of the pool months ago. Clochion, advanced stats all favor Angel. Defensive, offensive win shares. But yeah, except for advanced stats are always going to favor that sort of efficiency versus a high usage guard who has a more volume. That's the way they tend to work. So I wouldn't really take those to the bank right now, given the relative roles. And I say that as somebody who is starting to make a case for Angel. Live, laugh, love. Healthy debate. Mufasal Ali says Clark will be Rookie of the Year because of popular demand. Hopefully she can start winning games. Well, I mean, the Fever have almost won as many games as the Sky. It's not, I mean, that was the Sky won one more game. Percy McGee says CC gets less shots because she can't shoot with defense on. Well, she's being doubled, and yeah, she's being blitzed. I mean, let's not act like it's normal defense. Ida Vaughn says, love Angels game. David Weiss says, just here for the gratuitous Twitter-style headline for viewers. Is my headline that gratuitous? I don't really see anything wrong with the headline or how I'm framing the videos. And like I said, yes, I have used this topic for viewers. I will never lie to you. The viewers started coming when I started talking about this topic. So I started talking about it more. And it seemed like there was a real audience for it. And it seems that people are appreciating the way that I'm approaching it. So I'm not going to apologize for that. Extra P says, why are people talking about defensive attention? You're supposed to meet someone where they... Well, we're talking about defensive attention not because of the game plan being wrong. I'm talking about defensive attention because it is out of proportion to what everybody else is facing, which shows you the respect that she has already, at least from a basketball standpoint. That's why. It makes it harder to score against. Don't touch me. I have Adam Silver on speed dial. Says Angel Reese has been more consistent than Caitlin. I don't know about that either. I mean, yeah, maybe the Caitlin's had more explosive games and then worse games. And what Reese does is translatable game to game to game. But again, Reese was just shooting like 30% from the floor as a big for a large chunk of the season. It's now that she's changed that around. BK Barth said Clark top 20 in points, assists, steals, and blocks. Reese top 20 in rebounds and steals. Christopher Neely says, I see that you all are only at the second step of the 10-step process of coming down from your CC is the best illusion. I mean, here's the thing again, like Clark is having a historically great rookie season too. She was the fastest ever to her points and assist totals. I did a direct comparison video with her and Diana Taurasi, who was voted the greatest of all time. And she's ahead of her in many categories as a rookie. So I'm not sure why people should be saying she sucks. Carter says Clark's historic filling of arenas should earn her the award. No, that's not what that's not what the award should be about. Thomas Hancock says Caitlin Clark. Mr. M says watching Angel is like watching Rodman. I actually have fun watching her yank the ball out of nowhere. I'm with you. I'm with you. And Tiger Lair says Caitlin Clark. For those who love her, she plays tonight at 7 against the Atlanta Dream. Yeah. That's a good enough segue. All right. So I think we did a good job going through that topic. And actually talking about basketball for a minute here. Like I said, I wasn't going to get into the other stuff, but it is now unavoidable because of Dejanay Carrington's tweet has made it unavoidable to talk about. And I'm kind of exhausted by the whole thing at this point. But let's go step by step, right? I played the original interview earlier on a separate video. And this was the question that was asked by Jim Trotter. It's important to reset the context. And that was the one that blew up. He basically asked her the same question 3 different ways, kept getting the same response. My problem with that question is that when he asked that question about, you being used in a certain way, it was very general. It was very general versus, oh, we have technical difficulties. All right, let me reset. Somebody said they couldn't see it. So I'm sorry, guys. I will re-rack from the top. Basically, Dejanay Carrington's tweet has made it unavoidable to go back into this conversation. And her tweet was in response to Jim Trotter's question, right? And that was the one that blew up. That was the one that blew up everywhere out there. And, Dejanay was like, what did she say? She said, dog, how one cannot be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionalities of them all is nuts. We all see the shit. We all have a platform. We all have a voice, and they all hold weight. Silence is a luxury. I mean, that's in response to what Caitlin said to Trotter's question, no question. And it's significant because it's a fellow WNBA player. It's significant because it's said publicly. It's significant because Carrington is already in the news around Clark with the whole this thing and guarding her up and locking her up the first game of the season. And whatever her relationship is with Melissa Smith, who is Clark's teammate. I mean, Melissa Smith was at the game, at the Sky game against the Sun, in the building to take it in. So if Smith has, a close relationship with Carrington, and I've read, what their relationship may have been. I understand. I'm not going to get into gossip or where they might be in their relationship now. But nonetheless, if Carrington is saying that publicly and you have a teammate who has that kind of relationship with her, what is the team thinking? And I saw somebody say Aaliyah Boston's friend might have said something online. But all of that was in response to Trotter's question, which blew up before the follow-up question. And again, Trotter asked her this.
It seems no matter what you do or what is done to you, it becomes a topic nationally. And a lot of times it becomes divisive. I wonder from your standpoint how you feel about people using your name in whatever culture wars or whatever wars they're fighting. How do you feel about that?
It's not something I can control. So, I don't put too much thought and time into thinking about things like that. And to be honest, I don't see a lot of it. Like I've said, basketball is my job. Everything on the outside, I can't control that. So I'm not going to spend time thinking about that. People can talk about what they want to talk about, create conversations about, whatever it is. But I think for myself, I'm just here to play basketball.
And that's the quote that she's getting criticized for. First, she started getting criticized for it online. And one thing I have to tell people is not everybody is habitually online, where they're seeing that all the time and these discourses that happen every day. And that's why I say reality is not in line with that, because I was at the game and I didn't see anybody talking about that. The attendance is way through the roof. The ratings are way through the roof. All the measurables would indicate that Caitlin Clark is overwhelmingly popular with a lot of people. Black, white, gay, straight, man, woman, everywhere in between. Like every metric would tell you that, right? But there is this dialogue that's been happening. I mean, no question, especially online. And I'm not saying that there aren't hateful people getting into people's comments. But it is hard to police the fringe of any extreme base. And I think people on all sides of this are using her for their own purposes. You know, carnival barkers, like I said, on one side you have carnival barkers who are saying, you know, they don't like her because she's white and straight. And then on the other side, you have carnival barkers saying she's benefiting from white privilege and holding, you know, the attention from the rest of the league. And I didn't realize maybe it's quite as pervasive as it is within the league, because for Carrington to say that publicly, she's expressing a sentiment that people have. And she has a relationship with Clark's Fever teammates, and that has to be awkward. And maybe the report about the Olympics and the fans had some weight and some merit, right? But even the interviewer there, and I don't know Jim Trotter personally, I'm not trying to call him out his name or say anything rude or disrespectful, but I think even he was using that for his own, because he's going to write a column about it, I promise. And it blew up exactly the way that he wanted it to blow up. Exactly the way he wanted to blow up. Was that a question that Caitlin Clark needed to be asked before the game today? I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't know who was thinking about that before the game today. But he kept asking that same question. And regardless of how many times he asked it, she kept giving him the same response. But his question was very general. Like people using you for their agendas. So she gave a general answer. And after all this blew up, another clip surfaced where she was asked a much more direct question by someone named James Boyd, who I believe covers the Colts for The Athletic, and I want to give him credit. I did it on Twitter. He asked a better question, a more direct question, and as a result, he got a better answer. This was that question and response.
Caitlin, I know you mentioned that, you know, you want to focus straight on basketball. Definitely respect that. But when, just to ask you directly, when people use your name for racism, misogyny, whatever, what is your response to that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think, you know, everybody in our world, you know, deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas. It's disappointing. You know, it's not acceptable. But yeah, I mean, this league is a league I grew up admiring and wanting to be a part of. Like, some of the women in this league were my biggest idols and role models growing up and helped me want to achieve this moment right here that I get to play in every single night. So just treating every single woman in this league with the same amount of respect, I think is just a basic human thing that everybody should do. Like, you know, just be a kind person and treat them, you know, how you would want to be treated. And I think it's, you know, very simple.
I don't know how anyone on earth could have a problem with that answer. I don't know how anyone on earth could have a problem with that answer. You know, Caitlin has kept her head down, dealt with everything. People have been opportunists around her name in every which way, every which direction, trying to feed whatever their agenda is. And she's been focused on basketball and wanting to hoop. She said that. But when asked specifically about the way her name may be being used in certain context, let me make sure I have the context exactly right, being used for racism and misogyny, she rebuked it. She said it's disappointing. I don't want my name used that way. All the other women need to be treated with respect. What more do people want? What is she supposed to say? What is she supposed to say? That should dead it. It should be over with. That's checkmate. Like, and I shouldn't even be talking about these sort of things in that context, because those are serious issues. Like, those are real issues that have always been pervasive in society. But for the most part, people want to talk about basketball with her. They came to her for basketball. That's why she's popular as basketball. I really believe that. And I didn't want to believe that there was so much animosity against her behind the scenes, but I do get concerned when I see what Carrington said. I was just defending Carrington for the mocking thing. That was sports. She can play basketball. She can mock her, whatever. You know, she could take it. Big girl. But it is exhausting. And everybody's trying to use Caitlin Clark as the instrument for what they're trying to gain, what their agenda is, what their message is trying to get across. What more could she have said just there? I really, that should be the end of it. Isn't that what people wanted? Isn't that what people were asking for? For her to condemn random carnival barkers and random online commenters? Because she did. I mean, that's the kind of thing that should make Carrington delete her tweet. That's exactly what was being asked of Caitlin Clark. Can we move on to basketball, please? Please. Because I've gotten excited covering this and covering the league. I don't want to be exhausted. I don't want it to turn into, a shit show. Go completely to hell. How much better do you want her to handle herself? Honestly, I don't get it. And I hope what I said was okay. AJ Schreiber with the super chat. I want to see her reenact the Barkley role model ad. Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Kevin Zwicker. CC is just a ball player, not a political symbol. You know what these guys are doing, by the way? They're trying to encourage more super chats, by the way. These are like my biggest fans, biggest supporters, official, unofficial producers. And they're still sending super chats in, even though they got me on the text thread. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll try to, get through it. Let's keep it, let's keep it healthy. Let's keep it healthy. Thomas Hancock says, love your show, bro. Thank you. I mean, I've seen so many people giving me that same message. I appreciate it. Ernesto says, in my lifetime, I've never seen an athlete being ostracized. Michael Jordan famously never spoke out on anything, right? Like, I don't even know if it's actually attributed to him or not. Like, but the quote, Republicans buy shoes too, that was everywhere. But I'm not, Caitlin Clark is bringing so much positivity and growth to the game. And I've seen her do nothing wrong. So I would hope that was the end of it. I don't know what response they want. And by they, I mean the people complaining about it, not any group of people. Please, don't get it twisted. Lucy Salas says, here we go again. Jay says, CC must be under a lot of stress because our hair is falling out around the edges. Yeah, I mean, it is wild. It is wild. We didn't have another technical difficulty, did we, Kevin? I hope that second time around I got it to go. I hope so. Because I don't want to have to do another video. I was just going to, because I think it's worth posting and I'm going to chop it. I don't want to do it again. CC 110%. Oh, this is back to the Rookie of the Year discussion. Look, we've gotten more comments. That's a good sign. We've gotten more comments on the Rookie of the Year discussion than the other nonsense. Great response. Extra P says, that response was actually perfect. You may be able to blame it on media for not pushing that message instead of other narratives like people being jealous of her. Yeah, I mean, like they asked a direct question. It was a direct question. And she answered it. But yeah. Mike Cole says, I was shocked that so many national sports talk shows that have their 3-hour morning and afternoon shows all had a script, and it was identical word for word Monday when it all came out. Yeah, we knew the Olympics thing was going to be I woke up out of bed knowing that was going to be the biggest story in the world. In the world. Not just, there. Lou Rogers gives me a compliment on the haircuts, not calling me Johnny Bravo or Jimmy Neutron or whatever the hell y'all are calling me. Brandon 1050 says, I got CC, put $1 billion on that. Marvin Turner with a really nice message. Best WNBA sports show. Thanks, bro. Thank you. It does mean something to me when you guys say stuff like that. So I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Whew. All right, I'm going to get ready for the actual game coming up. I'll give you a reaction video to the game. As I said, I'm always going to try to be fair, y'all. I don't have an agenda. Look, do I have an agenda to have people watch me? And yeah, of course. To grow my career, of course. But I don't have an agenda for, what I'm saying out my mouth. Right? Like, I'm going to keep it real with you. And it's super cool. It's super cool, like, for so many reasons to see this explode the way it's exploded. And that's why it's, like, extra annoying when you see the other parts of it. Marvin Turner, CC is the first female I've seen play like Steph Curry. I think Juju will be the Michael Jordan of the W. Look, I love Juju too. Juju's so strong. Let me say something about Luka real quick, AJ. Since you say put CC on the Mavs, they would beat the Celtics, her on the squad. Do we always have to just destroy the best player on the losing team? Is that like the new? Has the media conditioned us that way? Is that the ritual? Like Luka's defense, I've said it for years. He can be blown by, needs to be better on that man. And he can stop bitching to the referees. Like, I've said that for years. At the same time, the Mavericks are only where they are because of Luka Doncic. And the guy's being held together by duct tape right now. Like, got an injured ankle and knee and back, my neck, my back. He's hurt everywhere. And the Celtics are going to beat the Mavericks regardless. Luka could have turned into Scottie Pippen on the perimeter, and the Celtics are beating the Mavericks. They're just a much better team. They're just a much better team. So now he's like Kevin said, he's got to be tarred and feathered. We got to bring Luka to the guillotine. Got to bring him to the guillotine. As One Smoke says, yes. That Dallas team's not good. Luka and Kyrie, they're the only players. Forget playmakers. They're the only players. The rest of the team is Garbo. The rest of the team is Garbo. So, let's see how Caitlin Clark does tonight. AJ's right. Should have never drank that beer. That's like the defining image now. Copterman says CC pops off tonight after the Twitter insanity. One Smoke. I've seen this before. Juju reminds you of Maya Moore. That's a comparison I've seen before. And I think that's so cool for the growth of the women's game is that Juju is going to take the mantle, her and Paige Beckers and everybody else. I just, I'm a little distracted still. I hope that what Caitlin said tonight is the end of all this nonsense. I hope. Bryce Smith says, I am waiting for Juju. She is dope. Vadim says, you guys think KCC is going to persevere through this whole mess? She's being assaulted from all the... Yeah. I mean, look, this is testing her. What do they say? What's the expression? Iron sharpens iron or whatever? Testing her. I don't know if anybody's been under pressure. So hopefully we can turn the conversation back to basketball now. Caitlin's really good with the media stuff too. You know, and she's answering the questions that were asked of her. BBG2K says it is a privilege to be quiet, but I know Cece just wants to hoop. But she's not being quiet. You know, she gets asked more questions than anybody. You know, they need to... I mean, she's out there answering the questions. Yeah, she wants to focus on basketball, but she's not avoiding the questions. Again, the first question was really vague. The one that blew up initially was mad vague. This was more specific. And she answered both questions. The first question was, what do you think of people who are using your name for all this other things? And she said, I'm not really paying attention. I don't play basketball. Then the second question was, what do you think of people using your name for racism and misogyny? She said, I don't like that. Don't do it. You know, like... Bryce Smith says, I watched Juju Watkins work on her handle with Phil Handy. That's how I found out about her. Phil worked with Kyrie, of course, and many others. You know, Juju's got a little following out there on the West Coast, too. You know, you see it. I saw her at one of the games. I think it was a Sparks game. She was getting mobbed out there. So Juju's on the rise for sure. For sure. One Smoke says, I'm happy the WNBA is getting this attention, but they need more teams and let the girls leave college early. Well, look, I'm never going to be against somebody being able to go out there and make their money. But I will say that it's good for the college game that the girls are there longer. I mean, I think it's one of the reasons they have a chance to pass the men in popularity on the college level, because the men's college game is completely broken. Completely broken. So, whew. I mean, I'm imagining that's what Caitlin Clark, everybody wanted her to say. Let's hope she goes out and has a good game, because I think that's better for everybody. She goes out and has a good game. Thank you, Alvin. He says, I can always count on Robin to bring logical sense and reason to all the CCWNBA topics. I do my best. It is a with great power comes great responsibility moment, right? It's a tough task nowadays, but I do my best. This will be the last live stream for the week. Alvin actually came over from Denise Salcedo's channel. I'm not doing the SmackDown reaction show this week because she's off in Scotland for Clash of the Castle. I'm trying to figure out what to do with the wrestling content, because I do want to get back to talking wrestling, but obviously it's not the same as this topic. So sorting through all that, we're going to have a show meeting and everything, but I'll give you all the content related to this, including I'll cut up the one section of this show. I'll do the reaction video to tonight's game, and I'll do a video to the Sky and Fever game for sure on Sunday. Not to mention, I should have an announcement next week regarding more coverage of this topic on a separate platform that hopefully will work in conjunction with this one. Change nothing about this, But it does mean the world to me how many of you are here and checking this out, and showing love and everything like that. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in. I'll get to as many of them as I can later. But that's what I got for tonight. Let me get ready for that game. I wasn't even sure I was going to do a show today, but I wanted to make sure. AJ with the super chat. We still doing a watch along for the next F1 race, 6:23 at 9 a.m. What about that? Could be a members only event, AJ, and we could do a show meeting there too. But I'll do a members only watch along with you that day. Oh man, what a wild story to cover. Shouts to Kevin too. Shouts to everybody out there. I appreciate y'all for real. Till next time, I'll be back next week with a live, but check out the channel in the meantime. Yeet.